Hey guys, what's up? Corey Allen here, the Overton Report. I saw everybody and their mother doing a live video. I thought, hey, maybe I should do a live video too. No, but really, I've been doing yard work and taking a little, break or whatever. We want to talk to you about a few of the things that are going on right now in South Carolina. So let me just go ahead and tell everybody that's watching this right now, please go ahead and share this video. Facebook told us that we could no longer invite people to like our page, so that's cool. It was really interesting because it was actually, we got that notification literally the minute after we began talking about the nationwide attacks on Israelis and Jewish people by not Palestinians, although some of the attacks were specifically by Palestinians, but mainly by leftist groups that support Palestine. And can I just say, just like right off the rip, is it not extremely interesting to conservatives throughout the United States that a group that calls themselves anti-fascists literally want Israel wiped off the map? Is that not strange to you? At the same time, those exact same groups condone and encourage, really, from what I've seen, Chinese Uyghurs, a minority Muslim class in China, being sent to work camps. But they call you a Nazi. It's some wild stuff, boy. But it's not what I'm here to talk about. First, I want to touch on this issue with the recently elected Charleston Sheriff, Kristen Graziano. Now, from the beginning, right, Kristen Graziano was jumping on live videos from these like far left and race baiting activists as they were telling other, all of their followers, hey, there are these people named blah, blah, Corey Allen, also this person and this person. If you see them in church or in the grocery store or their wives, you should attack them, right? So that was going on, and she was in the comments laughing about it, just thinking it was the most hilarious thing she'd ever seen in her life. So this woman, I was trying to tell y'all then, but she took office January 4th, okay? January 5th, Jamal Sutherland, who was a mentally ill man who was at the Palmetto Behavioral Health Center, he had assaulted some people there. They didn't know how to deal with it, so they called the police. The police arrested him, North Charleston police, and then gave him to Sheriff Graziano's people. And then, tragically, I think most of us have seen the video. He was pepper sprayed, had his head covered, spit guard, spit cover, whatever, and then tased. It's undetermined. His death is undetermined. But Graziano covered it up, hid it, did the required, suspended with pay pending a SLED investigation. Just a rubber stamp investigation is what happened there, actually. And immediately gave them their jobs back with no issue. That was all Graziano. That hid it, covered it up. Then, when asked why she wouldn't release the video, she said, well, the family didn't want me to. Well, I respect that. I would respect that if it was true. Turned out to be a lie. Complete lie. The family did want the video released, and they said as much. Dead silence from a lot of the leftist groups. Dead silence from a lot of the local and statewide leftist groups. You know why? Because those leftist groups helped get Sheriff Graziano elected. I mean, there's no if, ands, buts, or whatever's about it. It's exactly why. So she released the video, and good God, was it hard to watch. Extremely hard to watch. So then it comes out to where Graziano and a couple of the leftist groups decided that they would be doing a peaceful rally on Monday. And on Monday, Graziano came out and said, "We fired those two. We fired them. Ha! Good riddance. We got rid of them." But Jamal Sutherland's mom came across the truth, actually. The truth, which was Graziano told these two deputies, "Hey guys, you're taking a lot of heat. You're causing a lot of heat. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to let you go. And when all this simmers down, we'll hire you back. We'll look into hiring you back." I'm very concerned that I still, Jamal Sutherland's mother came out and told everybody this. And then all of these leftist activists came and started calling her names and saying that her and her husband were just out for a paycheck and just all of these disgusting things, right? And the only person that they're trying to hold accountable at all is the solicitor. Cause of death is undetermined. The solicitor needs a little bit more than that to go on in order to ensure a conviction. Yeah. That's just the way things work. And they know that. They know that that's the way things work. But it doesn't matter to them because it's all publicity, PR campaign, and stunt for them. Right and wrong does not matter to them. Only power. Only power and being close to that power. And having it be their guy or their girl in charge. That's what really matters to them. And they've proven it because if you look at all those leftist activist organizations in the Low Country and the entire state of South Carolina, dead silence. Completely ignoring what happened. And Graziano, man, I've been trying to ask you questions for a minute. You even canceled a scheduled Q&A session because you found out I was going to be there. And you're the sheriff. What a leader. What a leader. Anyway. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Anyway. Hopefully all of that works out. I wasn't really going to get involved with it because, to be honest with you, I 100% agree that there needs to be prison reform. 100%. I think that privatized prisons is a disgusting concept. I'm actually a very big fan of the Nordic model of rehabilitation versus punishment, because then you can catch people young and you can kind of help them find purpose. That's a really big thing for me. Not to mention it was the bleeding hearts in the late 80s that got rid of all institutionalization for mentally ill people. And that's why they all go to jail now. And man, it's devastating. I can tell you from my own personal experience in jail. Yes, to all the pearl clutchers out there, I've been to jail. The mentally challenged people, the mentally ill people, the people that are dealing with real mental issues, they're not treated well in prison or in jail. And then it's devastating. And it only makes the problem worse because they become institutionalized and then they're put back out on the street with no rehabilitation at all. And then, of course, that's why the recidivism rate is so high. Privatized prisons have to end. I'm not, we can't abolish the prison system. That's absolutely absurd. But privatized prisons have to end. But moving on from that, we've seen now that Clemson University, University of South Carolina, College of Charleston, and other state-funded schools are now telling students that they're going to have to be either masked or provide proof of vaccination. Now here's my thing with this. This isn't a measles vaccination. This isn't a polio vaccination. This isn't even a flu shot, right? This is not even an FDA approved issue. And I know I'm about to get, fact checked and they're going to start throttling me again. So like I said, share this video everywhere, okay? Share this video everywhere because we're touching on a lot of issues, a lot of very important ones. But the Geneva Conventions state, and this is international law here we're talking about, that an experimental medical procedure cannot, will not, shall not be enforced upon the public of any nation, ever. Why? Why is it in there? All you got to do is look at the late 30s and early 40s in Nazi Germany, and then 50s and 60s in the Soviet Union. All those collectivist nations that have this ends justify the means commonality between them all. They're dangerous. It's dangerous to allow experimental chemicals to be, forced upon people. Now, I would argue that a state-funded school that forces the people who are going to be going to that school to take an experimental authorization use only. I want to say this without getting throttled. Medical procedure, I would say they're breaking international law, and that's a crime against humanity. I mean, I think the argument can be very solidly made that that's the case. Now, we're working on right now getting in touch with some student groups, conservative student groups in Clemson, University of South Carolina, and College of Charleston. We've got the feelers out and some other student unions and student groups throughout the nation. And we're going to be trying to raise their voice, right? Trying to help them get their messages out. That's what we're going to be trying to do with this issue, because medical autonomy is a great catalyst for the concept of autonomy and personal liberty in general. If you, being protected by HIPAA and things like that, right, don't have medical autonomy, then I can promise you're not going to have any other type of autonomy at all. Yeah? You're not going to be able to have the free exchange of ideas if certain ideas are not allowed to even be placed on the table. That's just the way the world works, If we taught history in school, we might know that as a general population. Unfortunately, they don't teach history at school, so it's rare that common sense is actually common. It's unfortunate, too. Very unfortunate. So we're working with some of those groups. Yeah, Turning Point. We've got some feelers out. I do have, over the course of whatever, the not quite a year that I've been doing this, I have made some contacts in some of those groups. I don't know how helpful it'll be. It is what it is. We'll see where we go from that. But I can promise you that if the will is there, we'll be backing them, and we're going to fight against that every chance we get. Now, moving on to the next subject, which would be, and I'm not used to doing these live, so I'm used to cutting out the ums and the thinking parts of it, so bear with me. But when it comes to SC for Ed, right, working with WIS-TV, which is out of Columbia, News 2, Live 5 did a little bit, but they didn't go full-fledged, Actually, WIS-TV 10 out of Columbia were trying to paint it as if there was some wild extremist group with ties to the January 6th riots who were sending death threats to SC4Ed teachers, and they forgot to add any examples or proof or anything like that. They just made that blanket statement without digging into it, because they're not actually journalists. What they are parrots. They're leftist parrots. They parrot whatever their leftist owners tell them to parrot. So that's what happened on WIS TV 10. Like to talk to y'all if you see this. So that's what happened there. But even WCBD News 2 out of Charleston, they were making all these claims that there were threats and this and that, and that's why they didn't hold their protest. But when asked to provide any proof of the threats, the only thing they could come up with was this like picture of a paper where it was saying like, my child has a constitutional right and I don't condone wearing masks, therefore they can't wear a mask. If the snowflake faculty can't accept that, then maybe they should find a new job. That was their death threat. Meanwhile, actual teachers who are actually affiliated with SC4Ed were threatening to spray corrosive chemicals on the faces of students. And that was being defended by SC4Ed. I noticed that did not make it into the news story for some reason. For some reason. So you got to understand that these groups are propaganda groups. These news organizations are not news organizations. They're corporately owned by companies in New York and Los Angeles and Chicago, Illinois. They're not even local. They have an agenda they have to push, and their job is to look around at the local atmosphere and cherry pick data, cherry pick stories, cherry pick events in order to help push that required agenda that they have to push. And that is something the Overton Report will never do. Yeah? Here's a good example, actually. On a more national scale, NBC. MSNBC is owned by NBC. Of course, NBC is owned by NBC Universal, which is a worldwide company, right? What is the second largest, behind America, the second largest venue for NBC Universal's movies and music and all of that stuff? It's China. I'll just go ahead. We're not going to do the guess game. It's the Chinese Communist Party. If NBC Universal upsets the Chinese Communist Party by, say, reporting on them sending minority classes into death camps, like the Uyghurs, if they report on that, well, China's not going to allow them to put their movies out in China. Well, that's a lot of money they're going to be missing out on. And the thing is, let's get this really straight, really quick. Corporatism is not capitalism. Yeah? Corporations working in conjunction with government is fascism. Bottom line. So that's why you don't get the real news from NBC. Yeah? That's why that happens. But it happens on the smaller scale as well with their affiliates throughout the Low Country, throughout the state of South Carolina. The police video is, it's on some of the news channels. You'll have to go and look that up. But anyway, those are some of the things that are happening and some of the things that we're looking into and working on. Graziano, open invitation as always. I would love to do an interview. I'll be fair. I won't be a jerk, but I will ask you real questions. And I will expect real answers. I'm not going to be like, News 2 or Live 5 where they're like, so how great are you exactly? No, I'm going to ask you real questions. I'm going to expect real answers. I know you're going to ignore it, but open invitation, as always. Whenever you're ready, I've got plenty of questions. And not just about the Jamal Sutherland issue. I've got plenty of other ones that I think deserve answers as well. So, guys, I just want to say, if you could, go ahead, share this video. far and wide, everywhere. These are some of the things that are going on, and a little sneak peek into what we're planning on doing coming up, in the weeks coming up. There's a lot to do. There's a lot going on. Of course, SCDHEC, we served the cease and desist to Dorchester District 2 School Board. We have now added SCDHEC to the lawsuit, and we have informed them that they need to save all information, all hard drives, all communications, all emails, all text messages, all of that regarding masking, the vaccine, segregating children, based on, mask marking children, all information based on that. SCDHEC and Dorchester District 2 are both being warned that legal action is about to be taken. Shout out to Lauren Martell, wonderful attorney. Shout out to her on that front. And we're coming. And that's kind of been the point the whole time, right? It's not enough to be right. You have to be right and loud. At the same time, you can't just be loud. You got to have some stuff working in the background. Yeah, being loud and holding the protests and demanding action can't be a means. Can't be an end, rather, in and of itself. It has to be a means to an end, and there have to be multiple facets working in conjunction at the same time, and that's what we're always going to do. Always. So, shout out to Lauren Martell for that, and SCDHEC. I cannot wait to read your emails. I just can't. Oh my God. I know a lot of people like to watch, The Bachelor for fun. For me, it's reading bureaucrats' emails to other people when they think nobody else is watching. It is a blast. It's a blast to see what they really think of the public. It's so much fun. So yeah, send this out to everybody, guys. And also don't forget to follow us on Telegram. We're on Telegram. Just search at Overton Report, and or just search the Overton Report, rather. And the overtonreport.substack.com. You sign up for our newsletter. Facebook hates you. They hate me. They hate conservatives in general. And I really appreciate all of you sticking with us and joining forces. My goal is to raise your voice and to help you find your own courage. It's always been our goal. We said it from the start. It's about moving that football forward, right? It's about moving the ball forward. Principles over personalities. I would much rather, to be honest with you, I would much rather have some of the things that I believe in accomplished and never be known for it than to be known for, causing a ruckus and not getting anything actually done. So, critical race theory, I am actually so glad you said something about that. Somebody said, are you working towards cutting critical race theory out of our schools? The election audits for SC, there are some bills that we're in touch with some people on regarding election integrity and an audit in some of the counties. I think that, that's for another video, but I will talk to you about some of what we found in researching that. But critical race theory. Let me just first off say, if one of these leftist teachers comes at you and says, actually, it's culturally responsive teaching, right? That's one of the things they say. The other thing is culturally responsive and anti-racist teaching and learning. That's the new thing, right? But it still means critical race theory. I am studying all of the articles, all of the books that SC for Ed, and listening to all the podcasts so that you don't have to, that SC for Ed is put out for their teachers to read and to provide to their students. Some of it is insane. As a matter of fact, I'm really glad that you said that, because one of the books there is called How to Be an Anti-Racist, and the main argument, one of the couple of main arguments that they make is that discrimination in and of itself is not racist. What does that mean? I know, you hear that and you're like, discrimination against a race in and of itself is not racist. It's a strange concept. Here's what it means. If that discrimination is against the race that is perceived as the oppressor, and if it is in the name of equity, then it's not racist, right? To take it a step further, what that means is, I hate even talking about it like this. Let's use China. Let's use the Chinese Communist Party as an example. So the Chinese Uyghurs are a minority class in China. If the government decides to discriminate against non-Uyghurs in order to subjectively raise up the Chinese Uyghur minority class, then it's not racist. In America and in critical race theory, what they mean by that is if you discriminate against people who are white in order to raise up the position or the status or whatever of, say, Hispanics, then that is not racist. That's not racist because you're discriminating against the majority class, I guess, or the majority race. These types of half-baked, harebrained ideas are littered throughout critical race theory or culturally responsive and anti-racist teaching and learning. So understand that that's what it is. I mean, I literally put up a Martin Luther King quote earlier and had one of the leftist activists be like, you just don't understand, implying I don't understand why Martin Luther King's words, hoping that his daughters could be judged on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. I don't understand how that's just a racist concept. Those are the types of absurdities that you are fighting. So remember that. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk more about it in depth with all of these things going on. We've got a lot of work to do. All I ask is, when you see the rallies going down, when you see the protests going down, when you see anything happening, just please show up. Show up in person, physically, be a warm body there. You don't have to speak, you don't have to take the microphone, you don't have to take the bullhorn, you don't even have to bring a sign if you don't want to. Just be a warm body there, sit on the steps, just be there, just go. Even if it's not something you're specifically passionate about, if it is fighting for the rights of individuals and individual liberty, show up. That's all I ask. Ever. That's all I'll ever ask of you. That, and please share this everywhere. That's it. Have a happy Saturday. I know I kind of went off on a couple of tangents there, but there's just so much happening. Thank you all so much for the support, the continued support. It just helps prove that we're on the right track. So thank you so much for that. We'll talk to you guys very soon, and we'll let you know details of a lot of the things coming up that are in the works. And boy, it's going to blow your mind. We're going to win this. We'll talk to you soon.